All right, we won the die roll. We're going to play first. And yeah, we'll keep this. First play is a Dead Reveler, but Dead Reveler is good. 3 mana, 3/4 in black, especially. Granted, it can't block, but we're not exactly a deck that's wanting to block anyway. So, and if we can get a 2-drop next turn, we've got ourselves a real killer turn progression. Granted, now all of our Is It cards are going to require. All right, that's a fine draw. Are going to require double red rather than, you know, the blue-red because we don't have any blue mana in here. Okay. We do actually have enchantments in here, don't we? But that's all right. All right, Daggerdrome Imp. Turn too late, I'm afraid. All right. So we have ourselves 3/4. All right. We even get to attack into that. Beautiful. Nice. Okay, so we swing. Drop a Lobber Crew. And next turn we get a nice spawn of Rix Mad-Eye. So that should be good. I'm going to block the Keening Apparition because even if my opponent has a combat trick, Lobber Crew's one of the main purposes of Lobber Crew is. Okay, so my opponent's not. Which is fine. But I was going to say, one of the main purposes of Lobber Crew is to block. I mean, granted it pings, but it needs to be able to block. There's a Civic Saber. So let's play our land. Let's swing with our Dead Reveler. All right. Now we're going to ping our opponent and play a spawn of Rix Mad-Eye. So we'll untap Lobber Crew. And get a 5-mana Crawworm. What do we got? It's not a counterspell. Huh, okay. Forgotten about Avenging Arrow. I think I'm okay with that. I mean, Civic Saber makes Spawn of Rix Mad-Eye an 8/4. We have the Street Spasm. Granted, currently it can only deal 1 damage to each of our opponent's creatures, or kill whatever my opponent's playing here, I imagine. Okay, so we can kill that, which is good. Which is good. So we're going to kill the Keening Apparition. No overloads. We'll deal 4 to this. And smash for 9. Okay. So, ideally next turn with Shred Freak plus Civic Saber, we're gonna have a lot of different damage dealers coming in there. If our opponent had Nightly Valored the Concordia Pegasus, we actually would have been in a lot more trouble. Street Spasm wouldn't have been able to do anything about it. What do we got? Collective Blessing. Yeah, that card is super strong. It's a hyper-powered card right there. So I can play the 2 Shred Freaks and my opponent dies. So very good. Barely though. And Collective Blessing I think is one of the strongest cards in this limited format you can get. Absolutely. So that's going to be a tough card to beat if we don't push through the damage early. Yeah, Collective Blessing is just one of those insane bombs. We don't have a sideboard because we barely have enough cards to actually play here. If we had some anti-enchantment, I'd be on board, but unlikely in black and red, so looks like we're just going to have to cope with this here and hope Trader's Instinct gets us there, I suppose. Yeah, this hand is actually fine. So turn 2 Shred Freak, possibly turn 3 Shred Freak plus Deviant Glee. That could be good. Alright, Gate Creeper Vine. Get to put it in your hand, Selesnya, Guildgate, very good. Alright, so Shred Freak, and like I said, next turn we get to go Shred Freak plus Deviant Glee. Alright, Arrestor. So, Deviant Glee's less sexy now. But that's okay. So we can go Shred Freak number 2 here, though. So we'll do that. Yeah, unfortunately, Deviant Glee is not quite good enough here. Basically just offer a 2-for-1 trade, which isn't worth it. So maybe I just want to save the Glee for the Roustabout. That could make sense. Yeah, I suppose that does make sense. Otherwise we could do the Cobble Brood here as well. This only prevents damage to them, so that's not so bad. I wish Batterhorn was a little bit better looking here. So maybe Cobble Brute because it makes the best use of mana. And then you put a Glee on that and you can trample over top. Alright. I guess that's the plan. Just want my opponent to play an artifact so badly. Alright, so we can play the Deviant Glee now, and it does force the double block if our opponent wants to deal with the Cobble Brute. Or I can play it on the Roustabout. But I guess my opponent's got Apparition, so it's not going to work the way I want to anyway. But I guess what's nice is I can put the Deviant Glee on it. It's still kind of unideal, isn't it? Maybe we just swing with the Shred Freak and then play the Batterhorn. Or I can play 2 Roustabouts and set up for the Deviant Glee. It's a little bit difficult. Opponent did miss 2 land drops too, so this is kind of the time I need to push damage through, which makes me kind of want to do the Roustabouts more. But Batterhorn just needs to be double blocked on its own, so maybe that is the better option. Trading Cobble Brood for either of these is pretty bad. I'm kind of weirded out why my opponent tapped the Security Blockade land. Wouldn't you want to prevent damage to yourself? I think we're actually going to go with the 2 Roustabouts. So we're just going to swing with the Shred Freak here. Oh, that's awesome. Really like to see that. Yeah. So now we can go double Roustabout. I think I'd rather have a 4/3 regenerating dude than a 5 or a 7/3 non-regenerating trampler. So we're going to unleash both of our roustabouts here. And we're not going to play the Deviant Glee just yet. Although if I do play the Deviant Glee now... If I play the Deviant Glee now, I can absolutely play Batterhorn next turn. And otherwise I have to draw a land to be able to do both. And I'm going to want... It also, but it puts a big target sign on the roustabout too, which makes it a little more difficult. I can't really afford to be patient, though. If my opponent's missing land drops, I can't afford to be patient. We're going to play the Deviant Glee and then pass. They're really... I mean, we're in a rush to beat our opponent here, so... Alright, so they found their 4th land. Probably could have attacked with Knight. So let's get in with everything but the Cobble Brood here. So I guess the problem now is if my opponent's leaving up mana, I suspect that we've kind of got to play around... what is it? I'm thinking of the Avenging Arrow. So, like, if I play Batterhorn now, my opponent could Avenging Arrow the roustabout, and I won't be able to protect it. Okay, so we're going to give Trample. Okay, so the question is, do I play around the Avenging Arrow? I feel like the answer is yes, because as long as I've got a 4/3 regenerating Trampler, it's going to be difficult to deal with. So I think we do this the patient way. As much as I wanted to play a 4/3 here, I think it's in our best interest, because especially since it just wastes... My opponent can't even do it, right? Like, playing around Avenging Arrow here, if my opponent in fact does have it, is just so valuable to us. Alright, so now my opponent gets another Vigilant Knight. So I suppose I could have played Batterhorn, but it's still assuming my opponent doesn't have Avenging Arrow. It's very much possible they had the Eyes in the Skies as well as Avenging Arrow, so not much to be done there. Alright. Guess we gotta take some medicine here. Got the 5th land. No play, though. Okay. Lobbercrew's a good draw, so let's get in there. Give Trample. Okay. To get first strike, so it's going to force a regenerate here. Get some lifelink. Prevent damage. Yeah, opponent's doing it. So let's play the Lobbercrew here. I guess if I'd played the Batterhorn, I would have lost that. We'll see if my opponent's got the Avenging Arrow on top of that. Yeah, it looks like they do, which is unfortunate, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So, wait, why choose that one? That doesn't make sense. I think my opponent didn't realize that I used the regeneration shield already. So they could have taken out our Grim Roustabout there. They're still in a much better position. They have more cards in hand, and I feel like they've done a pretty good job of putting the board more in their favor. So, do I have to trade a Cobble Brute for a 2/2 Knight? I really don't want to. Oh, that's too bad. Okay, so Lobber Crew's gone. And a Crocodile that can get lifelink. That's pretty dangerous too. So Traitorous Instinct, which I suppose if I get another mana I can gain... No, well, yeah, I guess I could. So let's just swing with the Roustabout and then play the Batterhorn. Forgot to use the security blockade that time, but alright, so no artifacts, unfortunately, for Batterhorn to blow up. Our opponent doesn't have a black mana for Crocodile, though. That's something to note. So opponent is just super trick heavy. Good cheap tricks, too. Swift Justice is going to be amazing against us. Giant Growth. I mean, we have some instant speed removal. I guess just the Street Spasm. And we have Mortars, which would be crippling here. But yeah, I mean, these are good instant speed spells to have against us. Absolutely. And Cobble Brute does look terrible, admittedly, on this board. Okay. No play. All right, I kind of want the land, yeah. So we're going to instinct the Crocodile here. And we're going to, at this point, I guess, swing with everything. Although... yeah, I suppose. Because like I said, my opponent can't gain life from the Stonefair Crocodile. We can. So it does make sense. We're going to just end up probably trading a Cobble Brute for a Knight here. But we'll see how my opponent blocks. Oh, wow. Really? Okay. Well, we're going to gain some life, or try to. Okay. Yeah, it worked pretty well. Alright, no attacks. There's a Chain Walker, so let's get in there. I guess Exile does in fact take care of that. Can't regenerate past that one. But opponent does have to chump here, and we get a Chain Walker, so that's good. So 2 lethal creatures. Explosive Impact is a way to win as well. Oh, I guess it's not 2 lethal creatures because of the security blockade. It does, in fact, buy you a turn. Okay, that's not good enough. Thankfully, not good enough. So let's go to combat, get in there, and call it a game. And so opponent really, I think, dropped the ball on this one. They needed to take out that Deviant Gleed Grim Roustabout. And the reason they didn't is because they, I guess, assumed it still had the regeneration shield on it, but it had lost that regeneration shield when it got first strike killed. So leaving us with the 4/3 regenerating trampler, I think ultimately was to our opponent's demise. Although they did end up -2, so does that mean? No, I don't think so. I think they likely would have been able to recover with the double Rhino. And we were just drawing lands, so very fortunate to get the victory on that one. I think our opponent's errors were pretty costly in that one. All right, we'll see you in round 2.